So, will you please stand for the flag salute.
If we can have our Farmersville students lead us in the pledge. Ready? Begin.
Is there a need for an interpreter? Anybody, an interpreter?
¿Alguien necesita intérprete? Liz, okay.
Yeah.
Si alguien necesita intérprete, Liz, raise your hand. Ahí está Elizabeth, ella les puede ayudar.
Okay. 4.0, adoption of the agenda. 4.1, adoption of the agenda as requested as presented.
Move with the addendum?
Second.
Los Lopez, John Vasquez with addendum. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 5.0, consent calendar. 5.1, approval of regular board meeting minutes for October 24th, 2023.
Move.
Los Lopez,
Second.
John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 5.2, approval of release warrants dated October 26, 2023 in the amount of $480,166.78. November 2nd, 2023 in the amount of $106,915.93.
Move.
Second.
Alice Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 6.0, awards and presentations. 6.1, student board member report.
Good afternoon. Last week, Farmersville High School got to host the eighth grade invasion again. It was a successful event, and we had a lot of eighth graders, and many pathways are going to be filled up with students. Moving on to sports, last night we had our first boys and girls soccer games against the Minarets. JV boys won 7-0, varsity boys won 10-0, and unfortunately our girls soccer lost 2-0. We also had a home girls basketball game, which we won 65-34, and we had boys basketball game tonight. Coming up is our Thanksgiving break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh, 6.2, a recognition of our Freedom Chess Team.
All right, this is just a few of them. I actually have 30 students enrolled in chess right now. So after school, my room is busting at the seams full of chess kids. It is awesome. Thanks mostly to Alex Sanchez over at over at Snowden. He's gotten that club up and running, and he sent me 20 awesome fourth grade players. And so we are rocking and rolling this year. The kids are coming in ready to go, and our team is doing really well. Better than we have in years. So at our first tournament, which we hosted over here at Freedom, so thank you for the use of the facilities, we had almost 200 kids between kindergarten and 12th grade playing chess, in addition to families, and it's a huge all day long activity, so thank you very much for the facilities for that. We scored second place. There are 3 major teams. Yep. So there are 3 major teams. There's us, there's Manchester Gate in Fresno, and Dry Creek from Clovis. And in the last round, these guys worked really hard. They came from behind. We had 11 points. Dry Creek had 13. We actually ended up tying, but we edged them out because we did better in the last round. And so we scored that second place, and they didn't. We got like 3 points in that last round. They only got 1. So some special students I want to recognize. Some of them have medals and things from previous years. Dalila, that was last year's. Show last year's. Okay, that was her last year. She scored first place, and then they had a tie for first for 5 out of 5. So they actually had a playoff game. So she ended up getting the second place trophy in the playoff game. But she went 5 for 5, and that was in 4th grade against a bunch of 6th graders. Yeah. Okay. There were 87 kids playing in the 4th through 6th grade section. And out of those 87, my friend George isn't here tonight. He scored 10th with 4 out of 5. Dalila had 3.5 out of 5 this time. She was 14th. Wyatt Cass isn't here tonight, but he also had 3.5 out of 5. Sebastian Garcia with 3 out of 5. So they all had medals. Matthew, I believe, Matthew right here, Matthew Estrada with 3 out of 5. Carlos Rodarte isn't here, but he also scored 3 out of 5. And one of my 4th graders, let them see you. There you go. Okay, one of my 4th graders here, Zoe, managed to get 3 out of 5, beating out a whole bunch of 5th and 6th graders. So for a 4th grader to come up that fast, good job. And I plan on having Snowden here next time. I just got all excited about my team and forgot to communicate. So next time we may have this room half full of chess kids because he's got over 20 and I've got 30 and we're doing it. It's really good this year. I'm really hoping to take the team to state again. In the past, we used to go to compete up near San Jose and Santa Clara. And I'm really hoping in the recent years, since Snowden didn't have their team up, I was struggling to get enough players and have them be doing well enough to go. But this year, we're rocking with those kids Alex sent up. So I'm really hoping we'll be able to go to state this year in April. Fantastic. All right.
Let's give another big round of applause to our students in the chess club. And so that we don't keep them up from doing their homework, if they need to go, they're excused to go unless they want to stay. Them and their families.
And if
Congratulations.
you'd like to take a picture before you leave of the kids up front, maybe? Yeah? Why don't you guys line up front? Let's take pictures real quick of you guys. One picture, or your family can take pictures of you, real quick.
Go ahead and line up right here, children.
Just stand up. We'll just
Right here in
stand
the
up behind
front.
them. All the way across, all the way across. Break out the cameras. There you go.
Spread out, guys, spread out.
Spread out. There you go, spread out. There you go. All right.
We're trying.
Good job. There you go.
Okay, you guys are taller than me now.
All right. Okay. Thank you, kids. All right. Good job. Good job.
I'm Sylvia Ramos, and I'm a teacher at Hester, and I want to tell all you students that we are very, very proud of you. We remember you from when you went to Hester and Snowden, and now you're moving up to Freedom Junior High and the high school. Congratulations.
And Mr. Rodriguez in the back, if you could please email or text the picture over to Chris De Leon so we can put it on the website.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We'll just crop out Dr. Chavez. That'd be great. Okay, 6.3, Ivy League project, the ILP.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you.
First and foremost, we wanted to congratulate the chess teachers and the kids. What a great and awesome recognition. Let's give them a big round of applause again. That's awesome. I currently also serve as board president of the Parley Unified School District, and I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, Farmersville is in, I want Parley in too, right? Anyway, good evening, Dr. Chavez, board president, board members. What a great opportunity it is to be here tonight. I want to share with you a little bit about the Ivy League project. Hopefully I have about 5-10 minutes. If you can provide me, I'd appreciate it. And good evening to the board and audience here in Farmersville. My name is Martin Modis. I serve as a CEO and founder of the Ivy League project. I started the project 32 years ago. I was a former teacher, former principal, assistant superintendent, acting superintendent, and today I serve as board president of the Parley Unified School District. my passion or my passion for is college admissions and the importance of empowering students, especially students who come from first generation communities, to think about attending some of the most prominent universities, selective universities in America. We're talking about the Ivies, the top 8 schools in the nation: Harvard, Yale, Brown, Princeton, Columbia, UPenn, Cornell, Dartmouth, and so on. But I have an agenda that I want to follow here. If you can just take a look at this paper here on the left-hand side of your handout. And the agenda, I'll just go through it real quickly. I started the project back in '92 when a young man by the name of Ruben Navarrete came by and said, Martin, why don't we take some kids from Parlier to visit Harvard? He had just graduated from Harvard. He eventually went on to get a master's, and now he's the most syndicated Latino writer in the country. Lives in San Diego. A good friend of mine. I said, Martin, why don't we take some kids from Parlier to visit Harvard? I'm like, Ruben, you're crazy. We just go to Fresno State or Wheatley College. They're thinking about the other side of the world. Kids from our community have never been to the East Coast, mind you, thinking about even attending a school of that status, right? But he said, no, let's do it. And I said, you know what? Let me talk to the board president, and we made it happen. They approved it. We went on the trip. We raised money. We took 6 kids the first year, and we didn't know what to expect. All we knew was that it was going to be 5 days, 1 day to travel, 1 day back, and visit Harvard, MIT, and Yale. And what an experience it was to be on an airplane and to view these universities, right? Harvard's always ranked number 1, Princeton and Yale number 2, and Stanford's number 3 in the nation. And we had an opportunity to meet the admission officers. We had an opportunity to meet the students on campus. A lot of different people. But what we learned is that there's a lot of opportunities, and we also learned they have what they call large endowments. In endowments, like for example, Harvard has an endowment of $53 billion, and they're looking for students. In fact, over 60% of Harvard are students of color. But we take kids. It doesn't matter to me what color you are. What matters to me is you have the desire. Do you have the desire to want to go to apply to these universities in the nation? And so it started as a trip. The first year turned out to be a job for me for the rest of them, actually for 32 years now. And so in our third year, we had 3 kids accepted, 2 to Yale and 1 to Brown. Dr. Carlos Paz, who's a dermatologist in Visalia and also in Fresno. And then Rachel Navarro is our avid teacher there in Parlier. And then Eloy Molina, who's went to become a pharmaceutical manager in LA. They all got accepted. The fourth year, we had 4 kids, 2 to Princeton and 2 to Brown. Mind you, we didn't have any AP classes other than the AP Spanish. There was no early college, high school, or any of that. They had to take courses at the junior college to have a fighting chance. The 5th year, we had our first one into Harvard and MIT, and after that, we started getting kids from all over the valley. It went from 6 to 12 to 15 to 20. I was learning, they were learning, and so what happened is that it started a wave of getting kids from the valley, from all over the valley, to these universities. Today we have over 357 students that have been accepted to East Coast schools. We're talking the Georgetowns, the Harvards, the MITs, Harvards and Yales and Princetons and so on. And then over 2,000 in California schools. If they don't go back east, they'll go to a UC or Stanford or USC or even Fresno State. What's important is that our students go to college, right? All we're doing is providing an opportunity to go to these universities. And so if you look at the handout, our number 2, the mission of the statement is develop the next generation of world leaders. That's what we want to do. We want to provide our students to be at the table to decide policy for people in the United States or people in the world. Number 3 is our vision statement is to identify high-achieving students and encourage them to apply to selective universities. Only about 3 years ago, I started the Pee-wee program for kids in 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. We went to about 4 college trips in the summer. The parents, the students, they loved it. We taught the parents what they need to do to teach their kids to get into a selective university. We also started the junior high school program. And then, again, I'm serving, working with about four or five districts right now up and down the state of California, teaching them how to get into a selective school. So what does it look like, right? So you say, okay, Martin, so what does it look like? What our students do, right? We usually select a cohort of 25 to 35, 40 kids, the first year, second year, whatever. And most of them are high school. Sometimes there's a combination of 7th and 8th grade and high school students. It's better to select them as young as possible because therefore we have a better chance of getting these kids into the top 10 schools of the United States. These are schools that, again, have endowments. Harvard has an endowment of $53 billion, which means that they will pay for everything, your housing, your food, your books, everything. They'll fly you to back home, provide mentors for you. They go above and beyond. If you're absent, they'll knock on your doors and say, hey, Ruben, where are you at? You missed school for the past 2 days. Ruben says, I was sick. Okay, well, we just wanted to make sure that you're okay, right? That's the kind of attention you'll get at some of these schools. So we have what we call academy, a 9-month or 10-month academy on Saturdays from 9 to 12 or from 1 to 4. That's where we do the work. That's where we identify a cohort. Let's say 25 kids from Farmersville that will participate in the cohort. In the cohort, it's a 3-hour session. They're very focused. I don't like to waste time. I like to maximize my time. And so we work on the first hour is on the soft skill training, teaching kids how to engage with others. If for some reason you don't know how to engage, how to introduce yourself, we teach students the 5 norms of success. Body posture, eye contact, firm handshake, clear voice, enthusiasm, things of that nature. The second hour is devoted toward the academic plan, which means that we'll review the UC apps, the comps, the apps, then also the Common App. And then we review also what I put together. It's called the Academic Game Plan, a plan that I put together, 20 different variables of how to teach kids and parents how to get into a selective university. In addition, on the back page, and you can take a look at it later on, there are 4 core values from an article, which is excellent. And it talks by Christopher Rim, a contributor, that has 5 variables that how to get kids into selective schools. Very good information. I'm going to break that down for the students. The third hour is our professional guest speakers, whether we have Ruben Navarrete, the writer, or we have Danny and David Diaz from McFarland USA, or Ovi Velasquez, a national motivational speaker that will come in and talk to the kids. Dr. Elizabeth Hart, who's on my staff. I have Dr. Elizabeth Hart, a former Brown University admission officer, and 2 Princeton graduates that helped me with the writing, reviewing the applications and the essays and so on. So that takes care of that. If the students want to, they can participate on an Ivy League tour. We go back every year. Sometimes we take administrators, teachers, students, parents, and so on. I attach a itinerary for viewing. Number 6, the historical data. Again, we've had over 2,400 kids participate in the project since 1992. I started when I was a teacher. Then I was a principal, then an assistant superintendent. And my wife would keep on asking me, when are you going to give it up? I go, honey, I can't. It's part of me already, right? And she's helped me a lot. Most of our students are first generation, and 75% are Latina females. Latina females are going to take over the world, I tell everybody. It's pretty amazing. But we take everybody. It doesn't matter what color you are. And socioeconomic status, it doesn't matter. We're an official nonprofit organization. We did that about 3 years ago. It's called the Ivy League Project. And then we put together, I also have a Ivy League, Farmersville Ivy League project application. I need to send that to you so you can see it. Unfortunately, I forgot to put it in here for your viewing. On the left-hand side, you'll see, again, the 5 core values. You'll find how to get accepted into an Ivy League university. It's something that I put together, that I Zoom with kids all over the United States. And that is for your viewing. On the right-hand side, you'll find the monthly schedule. What does it look like? What are the themes? So there's a thematic theme. it's not, I'm very organized. I like things done in an organized way, right? So there's organized themes every month, and we follow the format, the 9 to 12 every hour format. In addition, you'll see the itinerary. If you want to see what we do, where we've gone, we do that every year. It's usually changes. Sometimes it changes every so often. I've also included some Stanford essays for your viewing that we review on the Saturdays. So we take a look at the kids who wrote. So a lot of times we have seniors that are applying and they've never seen an essay of somebody that got accepted to Stanford or Harvard or Yale. So we provide that. We go over, we review, we give them feedback in terms of what the essay looks like and what we need to do to improve the essay. So there's 3 readings. I do the first reading. Our second reading done by 2 of my Princeton graduates with master's degrees. And then our third read is Dr. Elizabeth Hart, who has 30 years of experience and a PhD from Harvard. So that's what we do. So what I did is I submitted a proposal to your superintendent, and I'm sure that you folks can take a look at it. But I'm here to entertain any questions you folks have.
Sabrina?
How are the students selected to be in the?
There's an application process. We usually talk to the school, what they want to look at, but we ask that they have probably minimum of 3.75, sometimes 3.5 GPA, right? We ask that they be in the most rigorous courses possible. So you're looking at a certain type of student that is very, very driven, very focused. And what we're going to do is we're going to mentor and we're going to polish them. So if they're a 3.75, we need them to get a 4.0 or above, and then take the honors courses and the AP courses. And then we'll sit down with the students and tell them, okay, this is where you're at. This is where we need you to be at. And since I'm local, I'm in Parlier. I don't mind coming over, free of charge. Come over and spend a day or 2 days, to 3 days during a week or whatever, and to meet with each student for 30 minutes or whatever. Mhm.
Thank you.
Again, we also do junior high school too, and we also work with the little Pee-wee kids too.
Little-
Yeah, it's exciting when you see the little Pee-wee kids shaking hands and making eye contact and everything else. It's fun. Any other questions you folks have?
Ruben?
Well, I was just gonna say, I've heard of the project some years ago, and I've also know some of the students that have gone through the process and are today very successful, and I see how it's changed their lives, but also the life of their families as well. And I'm happy to see that you also have a early mentoring type of project for pre-K to 3rd grade. I think that's so very important for communities like ours and yours as well. We have pretty similar demographics. So I just want to commend you for the great work that you've done for all
thank you,
these
Ruben.
years, because it's been many people have been are beneficiaries.
Yeah.
And so very
And Ruben, if I can interrupt you just for a second, I wanted to share with you, we also work with parents in English or Spanish right now. If there's another language, we can take a look at in presenting that. But a lot of the key is to teach the parents what they need to do so they can help their kids develop and follow the plan. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Alice?
Yes, I see that your monthly schedule starts in September. Tonight, we have at least 10 seniors here. Would it be too late
No.
for these seniors?
No problem, because right now, the application deadline for the UC is going to be closing pretty soon. So we would, if we did something, we would have to take a look at them and come over a couple of days even before the contract starts or whatever, if you folks wanted to. I'd be more than willing to come over to the high school and spend some time and take a look at their essays and help them. That's possible. Yeah, and in the Common App, like for example, like the Harvards and Yales, that application deadline will be like December 31st or January 1st. And the best part is the fact that I'm local. I'm just around the corner, 45 minutes away. So, and our staff's willing to help out in whatever we need to do.
It sounds great, and I think it would be amazing for our students to have this opportunity. Thank you.
John?
No question.
I appreciate you coming out, and yeah, we have a ton of bright kids. So it's something I'm sure that we would certainly think about and possibly move forward with, and maybe get a little feel from the kids.
Yeah.
Okay?
If I may, so some of our basketball players are sitting up here in the front row, and they'll be playing in the Parlier tournament this weekend.
Oh, they are, huh? I better keep an eye on them right now. I'll keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Well, I just want to, Doctor, if there's any other questions, sir?
No, we're good. I'll be presenting the proposal.
Yeah, in closing, to any of the Spanish-speaking parents that are here, nomás quería decirle, es una oportunidad para los alumnos que si tal vez quieren asistir a una universidad de Harvard, Yale, Brown, Princeton, una grande oportunidad de empujar y ayudar a los alumnos a asistir a una de esas escuelas. Folks, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present before you. It's really a great opportunity. I just briefly, just want to say that what started off, when our kids got accepted, our first 3 kids got accepted to Yale and Brown, it made headlines. We were on TV, we were newspaper, you name it, we were everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, what did we do? We got 3 kids into Yale and Brown, and the whole community was all happy. And the following year, we didn't get 3, we got 4 kids. And then people started calling me from all over LA, Las Vegas, and say, Martin, what are you doing? Is it the water or what? I go, I don't know what I'm doing. It's just I developed the academic game plan. I figured out, okay, this is what we need to do to get kids into places like Harvard, Yale, Brown, Princeton. It's never too late to apply. And maybe you seniors that are here, if you need some help, I'd be more than willing, with your permission or your superintendent and your board, I'd be more than willing to come on out and spend a day or 2 days or whatever. Or you can Zoom with me, or I can you can forward me your essays and so on, and we can do whatever we need to do. But maybe, is the high school principal here? Where? Oh, okay. Hopefully, again, with your permission, I look forward to do whatever we need to do.
Okay.
With that, thank you so much, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Okay, 8.0, public comments. Members of the public may address the board on any agenda item or other item of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board before or during the governing board's consideration of the item. The board is not able to discuss or take action on any item not appearing on the agenda. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes, individual topics to 20 minutes. Please begin your comments by stating your name.
The board asks that during public comment, everyone be respectful of the speakers. Members of the public shall not interrupt or interject while another person is giving their public comment at the podium. During public comment, there shall be no use of foul language. Should a member of the public have a concern about a specific employee, we ask that you direct those concerns to me, the superintendent, after this meeting, so that concern can be handled through the proper procedures. Please do not use employer or student names during public comment. At this time, we have 7 speaking cards. So the first one is Lisa Preheim. Preheim, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Preheim?
Preheim, yes.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Lisa Preheim. I'm a teacher at FHS. I'd like to ask a quick question of the board about the LCAP. After looking through it, I've noticed that there are many new positions listed for hire in the district. However, there are no locations for these positions or info on whether they are filled or not. Shouldn't the LCAP be revised and updated with specific information periodically to maintain transparency in spending? Thank you.
Next, we have Melinda Canning.
Good evening, board. Good evening, board members and Farmersville staff and community. Hello, my name is Melinda Canning, and I work at Freedom, and I am reading this letter on behalf of our district special education teachers. We would like to bring to your attention that the SPED department continues to be misguided and mishandled by its director of special education. These concerns were brought to our superintendent in at least 3 different meetings. There has been very minimal solutions and no promised follow-ups throughout this year. The issues continue to arise within all the areas of the department, with voices being unheard and team divided. Here are a few examples of issues that have been raised and not addressed. Lack of consistent, clear communication from the director of special education. not listening to or hearing staff concerns, not making decisions based on the best interest of students, not providing case managers enough time to notify staff of incoming students. Speech services have been inconsistent, parent request information, and director has no answer for them. Director does not attend high-profile IEPs, leaving staff and representatives vulnerable to parent complaints. Classes without the proper support staff, caseload numbers, and workload. Inadequate workspaces and lack of materials. People have left and want to leave our department because of the lack of leadership, understanding, and care shown. And as a reminder, special education is a legal department within the district, and this continued lack of leadership can result in more due process issues and legal matters for the district, which will hurt the district staff and most importantly, our students.
Laura Anaya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Laura Anaya. I'm a teacher over at Farmersville Junior High and the high school. Tonight, I'm reading on behalf of the Freedom staff. After the concerns of our teachers seem to have gone completely unheard by our district administration, the Freedom staff conducted a climate and culture survey of their principal and assistant principal to present to you, our board members. The morale and culture of our school. The teachers are providing these statistics to help you see what they have been put through under the principal's leadership this year and the past 2.5 years with their AP. Some highlights of the survey include a lack of flexibility and understanding, blatant disrespect and voices being raised in authority, micromanagement, and a lack of visibility on campus at any time, among many others. Our teachers and students have dealt with this micromanagement, disrespect, and lack of leadership for long enough. We hope that the board looks into this and guides our district administration in taking care of our schools for the sake of not only the teachers, but for the students as well. Please look into this.
Audrey Westbrook.
Good evening. My name is Audrey Westbrook. I work at Farmersville High School. I'm an ag teacher, and I'm speaking to the board today out of concerns for financial future of our school district. It seems our budget is being severely mismanaged. At the past few board meetings and in conversations, the board and our constituents have been told that our district seems to be in dire straits as far as the future budget looks. After some intensive research on recent budgetary choices, these are some questions that we have in no particular order. First, we have almost $4 million in capital outlay accounts, yet we are spending $1 million of general fund money to fix MOT problems. $2 million of this in particular was pulled from the general fund last year and placed into capital outlay. It has not been used. With proper planning and budget forecasting, one would think that our district leadership would not pull this $2 million from the general fund if they felt we were headed towards a deficit. Why was this done? Second, our assistant superintendent was moved to step 4 as acting HR director last year with a $39,000 stipend over 3 months. How did he get placed on step 4 with no work experience? Was the stipend received on top of his MTSS director's salary? And if so, was he working 16-hour days? And then, rather than being put back to MTSS director, he received a promotion to assistant superintendent, a position which was not flown or interviewed for. Next, our cafeteria budget was recently increased over 80%. Why? Next, we recently had a $3 million revision to our budget in October. How is district budgeting that far off? Next, as was mentioned earlier, we continue to add positions with one-time monies that will eventually sunset. Now that some of these monies are sunsetting, we see district leadership attempting to add them to LCAP or general fund. How are we adding positions when we have declining enrollment? Next, we the teachers have been told we're overstaffed, yet you will see 12 teacher prep buyouts on the board agenda. This is 2 full-time educators worth of work. Why? Next and last, in the 2021-2022 audit, it showed that we were in good financial shape with the 29% reserve. How in a year and a half has our district leadership gotten into this position? With proper long-term financial planning, we should have never been put in this position by our district leadership. Where is the accountability? Thank you.
Robert Locke.
Hello, board members. I'm Robert Locke, and I teach at the high school. I have a question about agenda items 14.1 and 14.2. 14.1 is necessary to set a date for an organizational meeting to determine dates for next year's board meeting. But why are we approving the schedule of board meetings in 14.2 for next year when it specifically says in the letter from Tulare County Office of Education that this should be done between December 1st and December 20th? It seems simple procedure is not being followed, and one wonders why we are passing the dates at this time instead of at the December meeting. Follow directions, is what I tell my 9th graders.
Teresa Gonzalez.
Good evening, board members and parents and staff. My name is Teresa Gonzalez, secretary at Farmersville High School. I have been employed for 11 years and I've seen a lot of changes. We at Farmersville High School care for the safety and well-being of your children. We have hired social workers, behavioral counselors, outreach counselors, and also our counselors to work with the educational needs of your students. We make every effort to care for your children at FHS and throughout all other campuses, while you as parents go to work and provide for your families. It saddens me to see that Farmersville Unified High School, the largest employer in the city, only offers its classified employees a 2% salary increase. It's embarrassing. As a classified employee, and as for all other classified employees, we work hard to meet our child's needs, whether it be an aide, kitchen staff, maintenance, health aides, or office staff. We all work together to meet your child's education needs and give them every opportunity to become a great young adult. As a secretary, I make sure we have coverage for all teachers in their absence. And unfortunately, the resident subs have been pulled from all school sites, which was a bad move. But I am sure the district had their own agenda for that. As some of you remember, I spoke up for a new superintendent that could bring us change and hope for the school district and our community, and I see otherwise. Thank you for your time.
Michael Jordan.
Hello, my name is Michael Jordan. I'm the FTA site rep and PE teacher at Farmersville High School. And I'm here in a state of relief to learn that our district management is addressing the high school fire alarm system, as noted in 15.5 of tonight's agenda. But I'm also in shock to learn how long it took our district office and its leaders to come to the decision to repair the system, as it has not been functioning since November of 2022, a year ago, at least. Yes, November 2022. At the December 22 board meeting, Mr. Macareno made comments about the use of the gym and track for the community, neighborhood schools, special education, freedom traffic, safety, and specifically brought up active shooter preparedness and safety in general for our students. At the May 23rd, 2023 meeting agenda, item 15.2 was a resolution to move funds from district county school facility to district's special reserves for capital outlay, which is for Fund 400, in the total of $1.6 million. At the 9/12/23 board meeting, our CBO reported Fund 403 special reserve for capital outlay had not quite $2 million, and again noted this at the October 24th board meeting. On July 28, 2023 board agenda, item 16.1, grand jury inquiry into what local districts are doing to ensure safety of students and faculty. Our superintendent's response stated that the district has implemented the grand jury recommendation that school districts should strongly consider implementing a comprehensive security system. He also cited board policy 3516.1, fire drills, and stated each site is scheduling ongoing trainings and drills to ensure staff and student safety. Yet 1 year later, our CBO and superintendent are addressing the fire system, despite having money in reserve and a letter to the grand jury attesting to student safety, staff safety. Interestingly enough, our superintendent found $300,000 in the LCAP in June 2023 to renovate an asbestos-laden old firehouse building for his pet project, and the lead and asbestos inspections were completed in August of 2023. Student safety apparently is not the priority our superintendent says it is, as we're first reflected in August 23 from the CHP report. Now in November, our CBO is citing an emergency resolution to circumvent competitive bidding to repair the high school fire alarm system, citing emergency circumstances to avoid danger to life or property, clear and imminent danger requiring immediate action to prevent or mitigate the loss of life, health, and property. This being necessary for the protection of the high school campus as well as staff and students' heightened liability. This resolution comes after our CBO responded to Mrs. Lopez's inquiry about, at our last board meeting, that he had not prioritized items 10 through 15 of facility projects to be completed this year, which included the fire alarm system, despite Mrs. Lopez's comments about safety issues, including prioritizing the fire alarm system for safety and leaky roofs to prevent possible sickness. The CBO also stated the district could eliminate the high school bell and paging system to be fixed and look at it at a later date. So, no alarms, faulty intercom. If there's a fire or a shooter on campus, we're in big trouble. Yes, since November 2022. Yet at every board meeting, our superintendent tells the students from our government class, you guys, that he is here for them. He states the same to our community forum, to the parents at the community forum. Board members, this is our leadership team, earning a combined salaries and benefits over $500,000 with their doctorate and law degrees. Isn't it time that our district leadership start earning these exorbitant salaries by working for our students instead of giving lip service and having additional staff to get their work done for them? Take a look at the district office facility. With increasing staffing, it looks like a pack of sardines in there. I wonder if the district office is in compliance with current fire code. But one thing's for sure, I bet the fire alarm works. Thank you.
And that concludes public comment.
8.1, superintendent's comments.
No comment at this time.
10.0, K-8 issues. 10.1, approval of donation from the Super Raspados and Churros to Snowden Elementary ASB account.
Move.
House Lopez.
Second.
John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Approval of donation from Super Raspados and Frutas El Pollo to Snowden Elementary ASB account.
Move.
Second.
House Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 10.3, approval of donation from Tacos La Muñeca and Snowden Elementary ASB account.
Move.
House
Second.
Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 10.4, approval of Freedom School chess tournaments.
Move.
Second.
House Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 10.5, approval of theater arts classes to Roger Rocca's Dinner Playhouse on December 1st, 2023 at Fresno, California.
Move and a question.
Second.
House Lopez, John Vasquez. Alice, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, this is the second play that they'll be attending, is there any time soon when we'll be actually seeing our own performance here?
He's not here to answer that question, so.
he's here.
Yes, the theater teacher's not here, but I can get that back to you, that information.
He's
Good?
here.
Oh, where is,
But I-
oh,
The
yeah, go
theater
ahead.
teacher.
No,
I was talking about the
That's
theater teacher.
but you can speak.
So we're in the works of doing various things to promote the class. Last year, we did two, for more theater and arts. We have hosted two events on our site. And so the last one was in April where we invited parents and things from the side. We had some food there. So definitely have some things in process. We're thinking about doing some sort of musical titled Parachi Girl.
Oh, cool. Okay, thank you.
Okay, 10.6, approval of disposal
Did you
of.
vote?
None, eight.
Oh, no. Okay, we got a motion by Alice, second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 10.6, approval of disposal of obsolete items from Farmsville Junior High School.
Move.
Lopez,
Sabrina, second.
Rena Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Eleven point one, approval of donation from Alex Payton Body to Farmsville High School Boys Soccer Program.
Move.
Second.
Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 11.2, approval of Farmsville High School Key Club Pasadena Rose Parade Decoration Trip on December 28th, 2023 in Pasadena, California.
Move.
Second.
John Vasquez, Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 11.3, approval of donations from Farmsville Youth Soccer League to Deep Creek Academy for student services.
Move.
Second.
John Vasquez, Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 12.0 curriculum. 12.1 approval of school plan for safety achievement, the SPSA Farmsville High School and Deep Creek Academy.
Move.
Sabrina Gomez,
Second with a, no.
Alice Lopez.
With a question.
Questions?
Here's a question.
Sabrina, you have a question?
I had a question.
Ruben? No? Alice?
Yes. Who is in charge of our well, Manuel Mendez is assistant superintendent and is in charge of curriculum, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he has reviewed the plans and is signing off that he agrees with the plans as stated? Is that correct?
Yeah, the answer is yes, but also they have to be approved by school site council. The school site council of each individual school site approve the school plan.
The only reason I'm asking this is because normally I do have sufficient time to read over all the packets and all the information, and I was out of town. So I want to make sure that it's confirmed that everyone has dotted their i's and all that, crossed their t's, that sort of thing.
Yes?
Okay, thank you.
John, any questions?
None.
Okay. Motion by Sabrina, second by Alice, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 12.2, approval of Avid National Conference, Path to Schoolwide on November 27th to the 30th, 2023 in San Diego, California.
Move.
Second.
Alice Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Approval of CAPS, Direct Systems Network Conference on December 8th, 2023, February 2nd, and April 19th, 2024 in Sonoma, California.
Move.
Second.
John Vasquez, Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 12.4, Farmsville Unified School District Comprehensive Threat Assessment, information only. 12.5, approval of MTSS Community Practice 2023-2024 Tulare County Office of Education, November 16th, 2023, February 6th, 2024, April 25th, 2024, in Visalia, California.
Move.
Second.
Alice Lopez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 12.6, Student Study Team Manual, information only. 12.7, SB 532, information only. 12.8, approval of Farmsville Unified School District Home and Hospital Manual.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Ruben Macareno, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 13.0, personnel. 13.1, approval of classified personnel, item 13.1.1 through item 13.1.5.
Move.
John Vasquez,
Second.
Ruben Macareno, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 13.2, approval of extracurriculum activities coaching personnel, item 13.2.1 through item 13.2.15.
Move.
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 13.3, personal action report, information only. 13.4, approval of interim director of MOTF.
Move.
Ruben Macareno,
Second.
Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 14.0, board business. 14.1, setting date of organizational meeting on December 12th, 2023.
Move.
Ruben Macareno,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 14.2, establishing of board meeting dates 2024.
Move with a question.
Alice
Or
Lopez,
Move for discussion, either way.
Second.
John Vasquez for discussion. Alice?
Yes, normally, it's a problem because we have people running for board, but we're going to be the same board next year. So under that education code, are we not permitted to go ahead and set dates?
Well, it is the option of the board, and we can table it for next meeting. The main purpose behind presenting it this time is so that we can do proper planning moving forward, since January comes around really fast, and it is not an election year. But it's totally up to the board. If they want to postpone it to the next meeting, that's fine.
Okay. Any more questions? We have a motion for discussion by Alice, a second by John Vasquez. Does someone want a motion to move forward?
I'll stay with that motion,
Alice?
yes.
John?
I'll stay with the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 14.3, consideration of any item member of the board wishes to have on future agenda or provided a written update. Sabrina?
Not at this time, thank you.
Ruben?
Nothing right now, thank you.
Alice?
Can we go back and look at all the previous requests for agenda items and make sure that they have been placed on the agenda or responses made?
I don't understand, I'm sorry.
Go back to all previous requests of any of the board members to make sure.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
John?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing for me. Okay. 15.0, business services. 15.1, approval of purchasing Apple products using Downey Unified School District's piggyback contract.
Motion with a question.
Sabrina?
Second.
Alice? Go ahead, Sabrina.
My question on these types of contracts, are they read by our lawyers or anybody, or is it just
Yeah.
who reviews these?
Yeah. Jason, do you want to speak to it?
So this sheet back here that the board has, this one has not been reviewed by our legal counsel. What this contract is saying is that Downey Unified went out for bid for Apple products, following California law, and they stack contract with Apple, which allows any basic school district to follow the same contract and same discount that Downey gets through the piggyback bid contract. In talking with Chris, it sounds like in order for us to continue purchasing Apple products, we have to have some sort of contract in place. And so that's one of the reasons that we're bringing this to the board tonight.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so you have a motion for discussion by Sabrina, a second by Alice. Do you want a motion forward?
Yeah, I stick with that.
Okay, Sabrina, motion. Alice, are you good?
Stay.
Same. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 15.2, presentation, expanded learning program module.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Chavez, admin, teachers, and community. I'm here to talk about our proposal of the modular that we would like to get for the expanded learning program. All righty. So what we would like to propose is a 60 by 40 module that we would like to, currently where we're located in the expanded learning program is at Hester. It is the oldest building that we have at Hester. Now I know my little drawing is really, really, really tiny, but it's right there. Why do we need it? Well, we share a space with two more departments. That is Save the Children and the IT. It also, with our program staff at Hester, we are a total of 12 program staff. Having this building will provide us to have more space as well as for our equipment. It is the only site that doesn't have a classroom for the expanded learning program from TK all the way to high school. And we want to provide a safety measure for our staff and the location of where it is going to be as I continue. I wanted to show you a picture. So this is the class that is located by where the community center is. That's the C1. This is the part of the classroom. Here is a cross. This is, our staff that is there. This is during the time that they're coming in. If you're facing the little section that we have, that's it. But let me show you a video so that way you can see what I'm referring to with the picture. All right, so do I push play or how does this do? Uh-oh, Chris, can you help me push play? Is that me? Now, here, we'll start the video. Like I said, we share the location with IT and Save the Children.
Arrangements and let me know how long you
You don't want to hear me talking. Here in that section is the.
Okay, sounds gravy. I do have things for you guys as well, and I will.
This is during prep time.
Hopefully before you leave today at the end of the day.
Got it. Do I? Okay, I'll leave it to Chris because I know he's moving it from his end.
So basically, you're just really crowded. Is that what's going on? You look like you're crowded.
You might have to narrate it.
Is that working? Okay, well, that's the space. So the good thing is that I took pictures. 'Cause the video's not working, but I just, wanted to show you that that's the space that we have. Do I move it, Chris, or do I leave it?
Just go to the next picture.
Okay. All right. Oh, so that's our proposed. It will provide a space for the program staff of the expanded learning program. It would be utilized for the before morning program that starts at 6:30, and for the in the morning, and the after school program. It will also be used as a space for a classroom, and it will also be considered as a drop-off and pickup area. So that is one of the reasons that we chose Hester, because as mentioned, we don't have a space for staff for our program. Now the projected cost, it is $2 million, but it is going to be funded through the expanded learning grant. And that grant is very specific of how it needs to be utilized. We cannot just say, hey, let's, buy this. And if we were to do it with school, it has to be a shared cost. So that's why it's very specific of how the funding needs to be utilized. If we don't utilize this funding by June 30th, it's going to be returned back to the state. And so by considering approving the next item of the agenda, it will expedite, because there's a lot of procedures that needs to happen with first now going to bid and then getting it approved with the state, and then the next steps. There's so many steps, and that funding has to be utilized by that date. Do you guys have any questions?
So I have a question for, I don't know, us or, so at Hester, that's where we're doing the TK in the new module, or the,
That's the location.
so this is gonna be in addition, to that, or?
Yes, it's
Yes.
separate.
It's a separate. So
Well, not to the monies, but just another,
No, it's going to be in a different location.
in a different location of that.
It's going to be towards the drop-off area
Uh-huh.
in the front.
Okay. I was just trying to visualize where
Yeah,
we're.
it's hard to see.
Where we're putting everything. I'm excited for this, so.
The good thing is Hester has a lot of real estate.
Yeah, they do.
So the space you have now is that one that as you come in from Ash Street, right?
Yes.
And so it's kind of limited. So what would happen to that building? Is that something?
Save the Children and IT are still there.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Please,
You'll
yeah.
move
So we're
out
gonna
of
take
Yes,
there.
we
children.
would just move on to another
Ah,
location. No, because that classroom is utilized, or that office is still utilized. Now, it still has, some much needed repair, but it could still be utilized.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knock on wood.
Alice?
Yes, I think there's kind of a little bit of misconception that this will be a separate entrance, because the parents still have to go into the Hester grounds to get to this facility, correct?
My understanding was that it would be located right in the front of the pickup area, so there would be an entrance for the expanded learning program.
A separate entrance other than what's already there now?
So, I can speak to that. So you have the entrance coming in from the south end, and then it kind of goes into a turnabout. And in between that entrance and the exit, you have a drop-off zone.
Right.
So it'll be located
Just right inside the drop-off zone, which is still
yeah, so
coming
it's
onto the,
actually- It'll be a separate entrance than the main entrance of the.
School itself.
The school itself.
Yeah.
Is that where the playground's at? Okay.
Yes, right before the playground.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going out,
Okay.
but you're right before the playground.
okay, I'm still trying to visualize because it's very hard.
Mm.
Will the children be exiting through the classroom outside the gate? Or will they be exiting from the classroom through the gates from,
Is there a tunnel?
from Hester? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I believe it should be from the classroom out to the gate, but it's still be attended one way or another. Portable should be located farther in anyway, so there is safety for the kids, yes.
Right, and when we're talking safety, we've been discussing that, and so we're gonna have to make sure that whatever protocols for entry and exit is still followed for
Raptor and everything else, yes.
or after-school program, exactly. If we can't know who's on campus, you know, from one program or another, we're still in the same boat. So I just wanted to make sure, because I think you thought that there was a separate entrance for them, and it's not, it's still the same entrance. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
John?
No questions at this time.
How many kids do you think you have there in your after-school program?
Overall or just at Hester?
Just
At Hester, including the morning program, 145.
Oh, wow, great, okay.
Would that leave opportunity to add more students? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There's always room.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 15.3, approval of architectural agreement for expanded learning opportunity, the ELAP module building.
Second.
Ruben Macareno, Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Excuse me.
Page.
15-4.
That's page 5.
15.4, approval of architecture agreement for site improvement structure and welding booths at Farmsville High School.
Move.
Sabrina Gomez,
Second.
Ruben Macareno, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 15.5, adoption of resolution number 06-11-14-23, authorizing a contract for the high school fire alarm system for emergency repair without recurring competitive bidding.
Move.
Sabrina?
Alice.
Alice?
Second, Sabrina.
Sabrina, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. 15.6, Cal Cards update.
Yeah, Jason?
So I believe at the last board meeting, there was a brief discussion on the Cal cards, and so the board requested that this had to be brought back with some more information, so that's what I'm attempting to do tonight. So but I thought it would be helpful if I basically provided some background on how accounts payable works, so we can, see what's happening overall. So as the board is aware, we use the Tulare County Office of Education system, financial system, which is called SACS. And so, since we're using their system, we have to follow basically by all of their requirements regarding specific documentation that we need to have to process warrants, and also their specific deadlines for processing accounts payable. So I thought it would be helpful just to kind of go over a simple example as to how this works, because it's different, versus how if you have a checkbook at home and you can just write a check anytime versus the way we operate here. So here, basically, there's only one accounts payable run once a week, and that's generally on Thursday. And so the way that it works is that the accounts payable technician is entering bills into the SACS financial system. Monday, she's entering bills. Tuesday, she's entering bills. Wednesday, she's entering bills. Thursday, she enters bills till about 12. And at 12, what happens is there's basically what we call cutoff. And what that means is that the county office says, okay, you've entered bills for 4.5 days. Now we're going to run a batch of all the bills you've paid in those 4 days. And so about 12, we stop entering bills, and then she starts uploading backup documentation to TCOE. And what they do on their side is they'll go through various selected payments and they'll request to see all the backup that's required to process those payments. So you know, in the next couple hours, you know, she's uploading all the backup that TCO is requesting so that we can comply with their commercial claims warrant manual. So that's Thursday, so Thursday afternoon. Friday, it could be that there's some questions, but basically Friday is when they print the checks from the past 4 days. But the way the county office system works is that even though cutoff was Thursday, the county office won't release the checks until the following Tuesday, thereabouts. So for example, here we are today, November 14th. Because we're in the middle of the month and we have mid-month run for payroll, there's no accounts payable run this week. The next run is going to be the 21st because it's a short week next week. And so according to their TCOE schedule, which is in the board packet as well, any warrants that are processed on the 21st, we won't actually even get them. TCOE won't even release them to us until the 28th. So I guess one of the points I'm trying to share with the board is that, you know, we enter bills throughout the entire week, and then once we're done entering bills, we still have to wait till the next week before TCOE will actually give us the warrants. And so on Tuesdays, generally, somebody will drive down to TCOE on Mooney, and they'll pick up a stack of warrants, and they'll drive back here, and then they'll fold them, and they'll stuff them in envelopes, and they'll put in any remittance that's needed into the envelope as well, run them through the postage machine, and put them in the outgoing mail. So there is a time lag essentially between when we get a bill and it goes into processing and when we actually get the bill back, or excuse me, get the warrant back from the county office that we can put it in the mail and send it off. And then I think it's important to realize that even though once we get the bill, excuse me, we get the warrant and we mail it off, sometimes it may take at least 7 to 10 days by the time, you know, the mail gets it and they put it on the truck and they drive it to whoever it needs to be. And then it lands on somebody's desk in Fargo, North Dakota. And then that person has to get it, figure out where it goes and input, you know, that payment into their system. So there's also a lag on that side as well. You know, once we put it in the mail, it may take 7 to 10 days for it to get there. And so I just thought that was important to share with the board and the public so they know that, you know, we just don't have a check here, excuse me, a checkbook that once we get a bill, we turn around and we write a check and we mail it off that next day. Unfortunately, there's a time delay, a time lag in the accounts payable process that we have to follow because we're following TCOE's deadlines. Now, once again, because we're following TCOE's deadlines, we also have to follow what they call their Tulare County Office of Education Commercial Warrant Claims Manual. And in that manual, they basically state what backup we have to have in order to process payments. And so I've made it abundantly clear to our accounts payable person that for any bill that she pays, she has to have some type of backup, absolute 100%, no exceptions. There should be something there for backup, which explains why we're paying this bill. So we just don't pay bills on a whim. We always make sure that there's backup there as well. And in the TCOE Warrant Claims Manual, for purchase cards, they do identify what those requirements are. So I thought I would just kind of go over a simple example here so we can share with the board regarding what the bare minimum requirements are that TCOE wants to see in payments when we process payments for CalCards. So I'm looking on, basically, it's the first page right behind the board transmittal, and up at the top it says audit requirements, but I'll just go through a basic example. This is just a basic example. Please excuse my hand. So one of the first things that they require is a PO, which is basically a purchase order. If they don't have that, according to their manual, they're not going to generate a warrant to pay that bill. The second thing they require for CalCards is they want a cardholder statement. And I'm putting parentheses here. It should be signed by the person who is incurring those expenses on the CalCard. And right now, the way we have it set up is that for anybody who has a CalCard, after they sign in and they bring it to the DO, we have Dr. Chavez sign off and approve it. So that's our process here. So they have to have a PO, a cardholder statement that's signed, and 3, they need itemized invoices. / we'll just put receipts. So these are so for a basic example for a CalCard, these are the 3 requirements we have to have in order for us to process a payment over here in accounts payable. So I'll just kind of go over the steps. So this is like step 1. So we have a card holder. And the card holder is off traveling, let's say they're traveling in San Diego for PD, for example. And they're incurring charges because they're traveling on their CalCard. So when they come back and they get their statement, they should have items 1, 2, and 3. And when they do, they should send all this information over to, the business office. And I'll set back here so people can see. And this is specifically accounts payable. So the cardholder should take all these 3 things, compile them in a packet. They should forward all this information to the business office, to the accounts payable. Now accounts payable will go through and they'll double check to make sure that, these things are all checked, that 1, 2, and 3. So she'll go through and she'll make sure that it's signed, and that there's a PO and it's signed, and there's backup. And when she has all 3 things, then the next step is that she enters it into the TCOE system. So she'll take information here, and then she enters it into the system, into SACS, which is our financial system software. Whoops. And she enters it into SACS. So now, sometimes, unfortunately, what happens is that, so the cardholder will have these, have this, but when they'll send items over to the business office, unfortunately, most commonly what happens is that number 3 is missing. Or pieces of number 3. Let's say there's 7 transactions, we get 4 backups. That means we're missing 3 receipts. So that creates a problem on our end because according to TCOE's Mortgage Claims Manual, we have to have itemized receipts. And if we don't have the itemized receipts, we can't pay it. So what happens is this comes over into accounts payable, and then we realize, hey, we have a problem because we don't have all the backup necessary to pay the bill. And so then we start communicating back to the cardholder saying, hey, you're missing number 3. And unfortunately, we can't pay without number 3. And so Larry County Office of Education won't even process the warrant without number 3. And unfortunately, this is a situation that we find ourselves in, which leads to occasionally the cards getting locked up. And what happens is that it only takes a couple people for 1 or 2 months to basically cause an issue where the unpaid balance is so much that U.S. Bank, the CalCard company, turns them all off. So unfortunately, just because of a couple people not turning in their information, it affects everybody because all the cards are linked. Essentially, they're on one big master account. And so, even though 2 or 3 people, don't turn in their stuff, unfortunately, it does affect everybody else who has a card, but at this point cannot use it until these unpaid balances are paid up. So now, on occasion, what will even happen is that, somebody will have backup and they'll send it to us, we'll go through it, and we'll enter to the system, and we'll enter to SACS, and maybe on Thursday afternoon, when TCOE is looking at all the backup we've submitted, they'll call over to accounts payable and they'll say, hey, we're looking at, a card for X person, and we don't see this backup. It looks like it's missing a receipt, or we're missing a folio for a hotel, or a parking receipt, what have you. And so they'll call or send an email saying, hey, you're missing this 1 piece of backup, just 1 piece. And we'll go, okay, gee, sorry about that. I guess we missed it. We're only human. We're gonna call the card holder and try and get that 1 piece of paper that we need so we can process the entire payment. And what TCOE says, okay, that's fine. You guys go back and you talk to the card holder and try and find that 1 piece of paper. But until you get all the information we need, we're not even going to process payments because you're missing all the itemized invoices and receipts that we need to process the payment. And once again, this kind of goes back to, in my experience, this has been the number one thing that causes us issues with the CalCards. Is that when they come over for payments, that there are pieces missing, and because of those missing pieces, we can't even enter them into the system. Once again, because we're governed by TCOE's requirements, and they require itemized receipts and invoices. Unfortunately, this is the situation that we find ourselves in every once in a while, and so I think this is what came up recently, and so this is the reason I'm doing this presentation here for the board. And I think one of the other requirements was, or the request was to a listing of the people who have cards, and I believe I furnished that, and it is a couple pages back in that transmittal. So I thought it'd be helpful for the board and everybody just to go over what's required in the CalCards and the reason that they occasionally do get locked up. It's not that we're going to business side. We don't want to pay. Trust me. We want to pay these things as quickly as they can, but we want to pay them correctly. Because for every payment we have over here, we have to have some type of backup. We have to have backup. Period. So.
Any questions?
Yep. I have several questions. Although I appreciate you explaining that to us. I have a BBAC card that I use for my job. If I don't submit an itemized statement, my medical bills don't get paid and I can no longer use my card. I am very well trained at what I need in order for that to happen. So there's 16 people on here. I'm assuming that they use this card for the repetitive items.
I mean, not everybody uses it at the same frequency. Some use them more than others.
And so are we able to show them what exactly is needed and before it leaves our hands that we are assured that everything is accounted for?
Yes, so we, just to go back to this, we don't pay the bills if we can. If we don't have the requirements that TCOE says we must have, it doesn't get processed. Because what will happen is,
Well,
once
right,
again,
it won't
they'll
get
end up here,
processed
and
by-
they're gonna find they're gonna kick it back anyways.
Yes, so before it leaves our hands, are we reassuring that we have everything we need? Or are we just sending it over and just waiting to see what they do?
No.
Okay.
So the cardholder sends up everything they have. Accounts payable goes through and checks all the requirements as well, because, we have to follow these TCOE requirements. And, we're just human too. We make mistakes here and there, in all truthfulness. And so, and hopefully that's far and few between, but when that does happen, it lands over here at TCOE and they're gonna catch it and say, hey, you're missing this one little teeny piece of paper that holds up the entire thing.
Okay. Do we have a hard time obtaining that information?
Sometimes we do, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, we do catch most of them, but sometimes, we've had some turnover in APY. I'm not saying that is an excuse, I'm just trying to explain. And so we have a new person over there who's learning. And unfortunately, when you're learning, you make a couple of mistakes.
What kind of training do they go through when they learn this?
So there really is no school or training per se for this. It's basically, honestly, it's basically on the job. But we do have our budget coordinator person here who has done accounts payable before, and so she knows what to do. We also have another person who did this job for a few months, and so she knows what to do. And also TCOE is really good about answering questions, so we can either call them because there's certain people that are dedicated just to do our accounts payable. And so if she has any questions, they're there in the same hours we are, so she can call them or email them.
So TCOE, since it's their program, they don't offer any type of hands-on training for anybody new for this type of stuff?
They might, but there isn't like a schedule that you can just sign up for and that's readily available.
Okay.
Ruben?
Well, I think the trick is really because when you go on business trips, holding on to receipts sometimes it's so hard. You might put it in the car, you might throw away accidentally, whatever the case is. And usually when you're doing your expenses, you're probably unaware that you forgot you did an expenditure. And because, I know when I got on a trip with the CalCard, I don't see a list of my expenditures. So I just put all my receipts on the piece of paper, I tape it for that end of the day. And then at the end of the trip, I get all my day of receipts and I turn it in. I don't even know if I missed one or not. All I know is I did my due diligence. And I know it's, you know, I've been on both sides of the, you know, the entering, I've been also on the other side of putting in. And you're right, the banks do just kind of cut it off. It's not happening. You know, there has to be accountability when you talk about that.
Yes. And for the receipts, so just like you mentioned, that does happen. You know, you go to a restaurant and they give you a little teeny piece of paper, and if you misplace that, you know, that does happen. We do have a process for that. So when that happens, you know, we'll send them a form that's a lost receipt form, and they just have to indicate, you know, the date and where, you know, the receipt or like where they were and the amount, and just some statement that I tried. I had this receipt, but I lost it. And sign off on it. And so we use that when we have to, but we don't like to rely on that all the time because we're just,
Okay.
Alice?
Oh, we've done this for several years, and this is pretty much the first time that this has happened. So my question is, I see that it's usually an admin that has a card, but when you have several people from that same school, school, going to a conference, you normally would pay the conference registration all at the same time, correct?
yes, that's what I've seen. So basically, just like you're saying in your example, if there's admin, the principal, and there's gonna be 5, 6 teachers going, they'll all use that one person's card to make all the reservations.
And then also for if they're staying, they're normally staying all at the same place, so you would use that one card.
Yes.
So you would pretty much, as they're coming in, somebody have to be there to use that card, swipe it over and over, correct?
I think when it goes on one card, when they check out, you know, it should all come out in one bill, like one folio
Well,
from the
no,
hotel.
when you check into a hotel, they require you to swipe your card for each person. So how is that working or not working for
Yeah.
our staff?
Maybe, I know,
I recently been on.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell you. So they make you swipe a card for incidentals, not for the cost of the room. And so you have to swipe your own personal card in case you order room service or something like that, you're paying for it. And then if it's part of the expenses you're allowed, you can provide the receipt back to the district and get reimbursed. But the payment for just the rooms that's been pre-arranged on the card, one person has.
Okay.
That's matched.
yeah, so it can either work that way or, yes, ma'am.
Sure, please.
So I'm Elizabeth, and I usually help with PD for our district. So what happens when we're having staff members use a credit card, we contact the hotel to make the reservation. So ask for the card number, and then the person processing the reservation the hotel will tell you to fill out the credit card authorization form. So they email that to you, you fill it out, you have the card holder sign off on all the charges, and they charge the credit card prior to their arrival. So the staff member upon arrival will need their own, if they're having their own room, they will need a personal, either debit card or credit card for incidentals only.
Okay.
That's all they need it for, because the district has already taken care of the hotel charges, room and taxes. So that's the process with the credit cards. So unless you're not filling out that credit card authorization form, then you run the chance of that staff member arriving at the hotel and then being asked for that original credit card that the hotel room was being held with.
Okay, good. I know even as board members, cards haven't worked for certain people, so they had to sleep outside. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, so this whole thing came about because the receipts were not getting back to the business office to be able to process the payments. Is that what
Yes, basically
it comes down to?
Basically, that's the case.
Okay, so staff, when they return from a conference, turn it into a secretary, or they turn it in directly to the card holder?
So when they come, I mean, maybe somebody who has a card can speak to this, but, so the way that I'm thinking it should work is about the 22nd of every month, that's when the cycle, stops for the CalCard. So, you know, next
Let's
month
let-
on the 22nd, everybody who has cards will get a new statement on the 22nd, and then at that point, I would think that they would, you know, print it out, and they would, you know, have all the backup, and they would basically just do it like Mr. Macarena said, tape all the receipts to the back, have a PO, have it signed, bring it over here, and we'll bring it to Dr. Chavez for his signature, and then we put it into processing.
We don't have a time frame.
To answer your question, I know in the past when we've been given a credit card that's not like mine, so if I check out Coop's credit card, I check it out from the secretary. And I sign it out, and I bring the receipts and the card to the secretary, sign it back in.
That sounds like the appropriate
Thank you.
way it should be done. Thank
But
you.
I will say, a lot of times it doesn't even work. There's some things like the chip doesn't work on it, so that is, if it doesn't work, it's not worth having.
I will add that sometimes their U.S. Bank's computer system does detect transactions they think are potentially fraudulent, and they won't let the card work. So for an example, it happened a couple years ago is somebody had a card and they went to, let's say, Target, and they bought a few $100s worth of stuff for some function, I can't recall what it was. So they left Target, and then they immediately went straight to Walmart. And they got, and they had a couple baskets of, you know, a few $100s of stuff at Walmart. And so they're up there, they rung them all through, and then, you know, the person tried using the card, and he came back declined. And of course, they put the stuff back, and they call me hours later, the next day, hey, what's wrong with the card? It doesn't work. And so at that point, I'm going, that's really strange because nobody, you know, it should work. So I call the bank and I say, you know, here's the situation. A person went to Target, charged $400. I can see the charge on the system, but then they went to Walmart and the card was declined. You know, can you help me understand why? And the person said, oh, well, our system detects that as a potentially fraudulent transaction. They said because basically they wouldn't expect somebody to buy $400 at Target and then run to Walmart 5 minutes later and do the same thing. So the system thinks that's potentially fraudulent. So the system, not me, U.S. Bank system shuts it down. And it doesn't let the second transaction go through because it thinks it's a fraudulent transaction.
John, any questions?
No.
I know that it takes massages, the cards do, so I'm good. Just kidding, all right.
In the long term, I will tell you that we do have to review the policy of how to properly utilize credit cards. The vast majority of the purpose of the credit card should be to cover travel or conferences, not necessarily purchases. Purchases, we have a purchase order system to do so, and it alleviates a lot of the stress. Because he's right, when the bank sees a lot of activity, they'll start freezing, you know, as they probably do with anybody's individual, especially if we have a credit union. They're very, very protective. So it's something that we have to, and you know what that takes? Planning. So conferences, purchases, even field trips have to be planned early on so that it's happening. It's when it's done last minute is what begins to cause issues. Mhm.
May I please have fraud alerts set up for my card so I can approve it whenever?
Okay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's not done.
Seabed? What?
Yeah,
Thank-
Seabeds.
I was gonna say, he needs to be done.
15.7, Seabed,
Okay,
Seabed update.
So seabeds, generally about this time every year, my practice has been I'll bring back to the board, basically a 5 or 6 year, 50,000 foot view as to what our seabeds look like. So at least for me on the financial side, I'm looking at the comparison of last year's seabeds, 2451, to the seabeds run, which I think was October 6th. And so we're now, according to seabeds, 2421. So on my side, that's 30 less students, and unfortunately that less students translates to less enrollment, which translates to less ADA.
What is ADA now per child?
For LCFF, it fluctuates a little bit, but for us, it's about $16,000 per student, assuming the student came to school every day. And if the student only comes to school, let's say half of the 180 days, we'd get about $8,000 because ADA is average daily attendance, so we only get paid per se when the student comes to school. So we can have an enrollment, which is how many students are on the books. But if all those students on the books don't come to school, that's a different number. And so there's enrollment, which is all the students on the books, but our ADA is always maybe, well, it's always generally, for Unified, it should be about 95% of your enrollment, but our enrollment, or excuse me, our attendance has dropped in the past couple of years. And so I think now we're hovering around 92%, attendance. So, once again, when our enrollment drops, our ADA is going to drop as well, and the result of it is going to be less LCFF funding.
And approximately a loss of 30 students translates to about 480 a year, 480,000.
Yes, 400, yes, just like Dr. Chavez said, I mean, even 30 students makes a big difference. It's around $480,000.
How do we recoup illness and medical stuff like that? Or is
Saturday
that- That's it? They still gotta go to school?
Yep.
Sick or not? they gotta go to
Yeah.
school.
Yes.
So it's not, you lost it, whether you're ill or surgery, it's lost. You have to go back to school to recover that.
Yeah, through the Saturday school attendance recovery program.
And I believe we do have home and hospice, or we have, some situations where if there's a student that's,
Yeah.
in a hospital, yeah.
Yeah, but that's different because under home and hospital, the teacher goes to you. And that's how we recover, but that's minimal.
Yeah, that's minimal.
It's minimal, the number of kids that are at home and hospital.
Is that it?
That's
Good?
it.
You sure? All right. Thank you.
He's not done, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, 16.0, other business. Approval of proposal 2024-2025 school calendar.
Move.
John Vasquez,
Second.
Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 16.2, approval of Farmsville Unified School District Interdistrict Plan.
Move.
John Vasquez,
Second.
Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 17.0, future meeting dates. 17.1, December 12th, 2023, January 16th, 2024. 20.0, adjournment to closed session. 8:23, is that correct? 20.1, conference with labor negotiations, GC 54957.6. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and to instruct its designated reps, agency designated representatives, Dr. Sergio Chavez, Jason Kraft, Manuel Mendez, name of organization, FTA, CSEA, and management. 20.2, public employee discipline, dismissal, release complaint, government code 54957. 20.3, conference with real property negotiators, government code 54956.8, agency negotiator, Brian Martin, attorney, AALRR, under negotiation price and terms, address 846 North Magnolia, Farmersville, California. 20.4, conference with legal counsel, anticipation litigation, government code, section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation pursuing to subdivision D of section 54956.9. Thank you for staying.
Thank you for attending.
Yes, and you could probably go now.
We want to thank you all for being here. Mr. Mendez and Mr. Caff remain for closed session. Management, site management, you're free to go. And you guys, thank you for coming. Yeah?
I was gonna offer. That's being Wahama, we have to.
Good. Well, he's got 3 thumbs up, so he's ready or not. Here we go.
I missed you.
Okay? Okay. Back in open session at 9:50, is that correct? 21.1, conference with labor negotiations, GC 54957.6. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and to instruct its designated reps, agency designated representatives, Dr. Sergio Chavez, Jason Kraft, Emmanuel Mendez, name of organization, FTA, CSEA management, no action taken. 21.2, public employee discipline, dismissal release complaint, Government Code 54957, no action taken. 21.3, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8, agency negotiator Brian Martin, attorney, AALRR, under negotiation price and terms, address 846 North Magnolia, Farmsville, California, no action taken. 21.4, conference with legal counsel, anticipation litigation, Government Code, section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D of section 54956.9. Need a motion for accept petition.
Move.
Alice Lopez.
Second.
John Vasquez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Motion to reject claim.
Move.
Claim ML. Motion Alice.
Second.
John Vasquez, all in favor? Reject claim ML. Reject claim ML. Okay, we're good. 22.0 adjournment at 9:52.
Second.
John Vasquez, Alice Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right.
Where was this from? Is this yours?
That's yours.
No, I mean, where did it come from?
We made it. We created.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you like it?
It's very pretty.
You like it?
If you like it, I made it. No, it was done by our team, Jackie Chavez, Elizabeth, Manuel, and Chris Juarez.
Oh, did we have